Sure. Well, obviously, I thought it was a really productive bye week for us. We're excited to now get into Sun Belt Conference play. And what better way to do it than what I think is one of the most premier teams in our conference? Have a lot of respect for Major, his entire coaching staff, what they've done there, their skilled players, their toughness. I think it's one of the most complete teams in our conference when you look at them in all three phases. And like I said, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, their coaching staff, and their program. And we haven't been very competitive with them. Last year, I thought we were more competitive than we've ever been. But again, looking forward to the numerous challenges that this week presents. So I'll pause and answer any questions y'all may have.
Yes, sir. We'll start off with Charles McCray. Charles?
Coach, what's going on, man?
Good morning.
You feel like you guys addressed the issues of offense in the bye week?
I think it's ongoing. I think the biggest thing for us is consistency and performance. I think it's how we prepare. It's being able to manufacture game speed repetitions, throughout the course of practice. But also, we've kind of said it's kind of been our Achilles heel all year is we got to be able to make the layups. We got to be able to make the easy throws, the completion plays, whether it's fundamentals, whether it's discipline to execute at a high level, being 11 for 11. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I think the bye week, provided myself the luxury to really go back and really dive into the first four games and look at our flaws, look at the things that we need to improve, our problem areas, what are our strengths. Usually by game three or game four, your team has established an identity. I think we're still lacking an identity overall. I think a lot of that is a byproduct of the competition and some of the teams we've faced as well. So I do think it was a really productive week. Our kids want to do it. They've been all in terms of what we ask of them each and every day. It's just, it goes back to that word team. 10 guys can do it right and one can do it wrong. And, we say one wrong, all wrong. And I think that's really been the key when you look at it this whole season is 8, 9, 10 individuals have the discipline to execute their assignment. And there's one or two blinking lights and that kind of affects it, but they want to do well. So again, we just have to have another great week of preparation and understand the tall task that's in order this week.
We'll go over to Adam. Adam.
Hey, Coach, you kind of alluded to it, but obviously you and Coach Applewhite have some history, spent time on the same staff at Alabama, and both, respectfully offensive minds. Is that going to play a key into this weekend's game and sort of a chess match between you two and knowing the formations, knowing what he likes to do, knowing tendencies, but the familiarity and how that helps you in a game plan?
Well, there's definitely familiarity, but it comes down to the players executing. And, I just spoke about us being 11 for 11. Really, even though football is the greatest team sport, football still boils down to one-on-one matchups. And that's why some teams match up with better teams. And everyone around the country says, well, how can they play well against this team, but they can't play well against that team? Well, football comes down to one-on-one matchups. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for Major. We've been through a lot. We had 2.5 great years together. Rob Azell and myself were together for 3 years. I know what Rob brings to the table. I think he's one of the most innovative, dynamic coaches, not only in our league, but I think in all of college football. Sat in the same staff room as him. And again, just have a tremendous amount of respect. But I think where they do a great job is they play to the skill set of their players. I think the quarterback is one of the top players in our league. I think he's in contention for player of the year. He does remind me of Tua. They ask a lot of things of what we did at Alabama with Tua, and you just can't misconstrue because they're both left-handed. They're extremely accurate. The release is extremely quick, very, very strong arm, can defeat tight coverage, and then really dynamic with the ball in their hands and plays extremely tough. And then obviously really good skill guys around them, big up front. And then defensively, they pose you so many different looks, so many different schemes, so many pick games up front, twists, movement. So they're a lot to prepare for on top of being a really good, talented football team.
We're back over to Charles. Charles?
My fault. Going into the bye week, we talked about injuries. You were hoping that like 6, 7 guys would come back. Where are we at on track with those guys? Are we going to see McKeelan this weekend?
Yeah, we're still on track. I think a lot of these guys will be game time decisions. I think the nature of their injuries, you just don't get healthy in 1 week. So I think we have to track the progress. Again, you can't just individuals that haven't practiced, you just can't plug in and play, especially when you're playing a football team like South Alabama. Again, they're violent, they're physical up front, they're very athletic. A lot of those guys in their defensive front have played a lot of football for them. And when you watch them as a football coach, uh, it's fun to watch them play with their effort, their mentality, their toughness. So again, we just can't plug and play guys in. So I think it's going to be, how their preparation goes this week. How do they prepare? And then are they ready for the game speed repetitions that the game will present?
Got time for one more from Sam. Sam?
Coach, you talked about the physicality of South Alabama's defensive front, but how important will your defensive front be this weekend as you try to slow down the rushing game, particularly of South Alabama, where the top 3 rushers are averaging over 6.5 yards a carry on the season?
Well, it's going to be vital, and I think when you look at them, that's the challenge in and of itself. Not just because of the schemes and the players, but they're extremely balanced. They know what your flaws are, they know what your fundamental flaws are, they know what your schematic flaws are, and they look to take advantage of that. And on top of that, very skillful players, and again, very, very balanced. So you have to, obviously, it starts with stopping the run, but we know we're going to get deep balls and we're going to get deep shots and all those. So I think for us, it's playing the ball in the air. I think it's being fundamentally sound. And when you play teams like South Alabama, you can't beat yourselves. And I think, that's the biggest thing we've talked about and we'll continue to talk about is, you have to, it's like the Little League analogy. You have to not beat yourself before you can win the game. And they force you to play at a very, very high level.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Okay, have a great week.